Well, hello there, friend. Thanks so much for stopping by. Thanks for hanging out. Andrew Najera here at Drew Installs Hardware. Today, interesting topic I wanted to cover. This is going to be, do I know how to spell? I don't. So we'll just take that one out. So access control basics. What's a door hardware installer doing talking about access control? Well, let me tell you. Uh, For years, I installed door hardware without having any idea about how access control worked, even at a very basic level. Once I understood how it worked at a basic level, I feel like it really helped me with my installs. Just to have an understanding of how the opening is going to operate, what's going to happen, and it does affect how I install the hardware then sometimes. So today I'm going to give a very basic overview of how an access control system works at an access controlled opening, focusing just really at the opening itself. So to get started, let's just draw ourselves a door. We're going to say that's a door, okay? Let's say the hinges are here. You're going to see what a good artist I am here pretty soon. And let's say we have a lever here, and that's going to be a cylinder. So we'll say this is like a mortise handle set, okay? Here's our access control opening. So what are the components at an access control opening? Well, at every single access control opening, there's going to be four major components. And remember, this is just basic, but you're going to have a card reader, right? So we're standing on the outside of the door here. You're going to have a card reader here. You're going to have the electrified hardware right here. And I meant to do that in a different color. So let me enhance. I'm going to enhance that. You're going to have electrified hardware. This could be electrified handle set, electrified strike, a mag lock. Hopefully it's not a mag lock. You don't want a mag lock. I mean, they get used, but I think they're very problematic. Okay, what other components? That's two. Then you're going to have a door position switch. And I'm just going to kind of put that up here like this. A door position switch. A door position switch. And then what's the last thing? Let's say, just looking for colors here. Then on the inside of the door, what would you say? What you'd say is the secure side, you're going to have a REX device, also known as a request to exit. Here, I should say, along with this electrified door hardware, you may have an electrified hinge also. So those are the four components. I'm gonna write them down over here. So there we are: card reader, electrified hardware, door position switch, and a request to exit. We'll talk about each of those components real quick. So the card reader, I don't have nothing to do with this. It's a hardware installer, right? But the card reader is what you present your badge to. It magically talks back to, let's put a magic something over here. This is like a magical brain. You got a magical brain over here. Okay. So you present a badge to the card reader, and it communicates back to this magical brain. And it asks the magical brain, does that person who has that badge, do they have access to this door? And it'll say yes or no. If it says yes, then it tells the system to send power here to the electrified hinge, which goes to the electrified hardware, which will then you can open. It'll unlock the door, open it, close it. Pretty cool, huh? So that's what the card reader and how the card reader and the electrified hardware works. The door position switch, well, that's because this magical brain is really concerned about the status of this door. It always wants to know if this door is closed or if it's open. It's very important to the magical brain. It'll be very unhappy if the door is open when it's not supposed to be. Okay, it doesn't like that. So the door position switch, and I can actually show you what one of those looks like. So here's an example of a door position switch. Okay, it's just a little switch in here. It's got a little reed that moves up and down. and because of a magnet. So this is going to be installed in the frame, and then this magnet comes here, and it pulls that reed down to close the circuit, and then when the magnet moves away, the circuit opens. So the circuit's closed here, and it's open there. I say that, but you can wire them up either normally closed or normally open, and that's why you have 3 wires there. But yeah, the magical brain really always wants to know if the door is open or closed. It's very important. Then our 4th device is the request to exit. Now, that I think is sometimes a little bit harder, at least for me when I was learning about it, to wrap my head around. But it all makes sense when you realize the magical brain really wants to know why the door opens every single time. It wants to know why the door opened. So on a valid card read, the system knows that the door at the moment's closed, but it's about to open because someone has access to the door. And it sees the door open, it sees the door closed, and it's happy. Well, what if someone's coming from the other direction, though, and they're going to exit the door? There's not a card reader on the inside of the door, usually. Now, there can be, of course, in more secure areas. But for this basic stuff, there's no card reader on the inside. So when someone exits this door, they're going to open the door, and the magical brain isn't going to know why the door opened. It's going to think, oh no, somebody broke into my door. But actually, that's not what happened, is it? Somebody who already had access inside the secure area is just exiting. So what the request to exit does, it's just an open and closed circuit also. And so when someone walks from the inside and goes to exit, there'll be some sort of input that just tells the system, hey, the door is about to open because someone's exiting the door. So it's okay for the door to open. Don't freak out. Don't lose your stuff. Like, it's okay. The door is going to open and it's all good, bro. So you might see these requests to exits as a motion sensor. A lot of times it's a motion sensor on the frame, on the wall, or on the ceiling above these access control openings that provides that input. Those are wired up. Usually those are wired up normally open. So it sees someone coming and then it closes. There's other ways to have requests to exits also. For example, some of these Schlage electrified mortise cassettes, they'll have a request to exit built in down here. So, oh, missing a screw. So how these work is there's a little micro switch in here. And so from the inside, here I'm on the inside, this is the outside because we have our handing screw right here. On the inside, there's a little micro switch right here. So that when that handle turns, turn the handle, changes the state of the micro switch, and that goes back to the magical brain and says, hey, somebody just turned the inside handle. So it's okay for that door to open. The system likes to know the status of the door and why the door opens. Now, if it ever sees the door open without a valid card read or request to exit, it gets mad and it'll send off an alarm or it'll generate a report that says, hey, this door was forced open. Because it's got that door position switch too, also, if the door gets propped open after a certain amount of time, the door or the system will get a door held alarm or something along those lines. All the systems are different, but the basic principles are all pretty much the same. And like I said, this is a very basic description of how this would work. It gets a lot more complicated. And also, once everything's all wired up, and they even have wireless systems now too, but the one thing I like about the wired systems, it seems like you can do real-time locking down of your campus or whatever just with the press of a button. Everything happens right now. With the wireless, it seems like there is some delay as far as how often the wireless modules are checking back in. Now, that might not be an issue anymore, but that was something I observed in some of the projects I've worked on. But yeah, so once everything's all wired up, over here in this magical brain part, there's so many options that can be programmed. You can have unlock schedules. You can have people's badges that work at certain times and don't work at other times. It can get so complex and there's so many different options that's why I just want to focus right here. If I have to go troubleshoot an access control opening, I start on this side of the hinge and I go that way. If I can send power through the hinge and it unlocks my handle set, I'm good to go. And the problem probably lies somewhere else in that very complex system. My part of it is very simple. So that's why when I install them, I test them right then and there, test the power, test the rec switch if it has one. You can have then latch bolt monitors, another switch. You can have key monitors, because if someone comes up here with a key and opens the door, this magical brain over here, he didn't get any kind of signal that it was a valid card read or someone exiting the door. He just sees the door open and is like, hey, that's not cool. But they even have like key monitoring switches to where if someone turns the key, well, that fires another input and it lets the door know, hey, somebody opened the door because they had access, because they had a key. It's so cool. Most of the hinges, most of the electrified hinges we install, like these guys, they got, how many wires? They got 8 wires. So, usually you get 2 for power. You'll have 2 for the recs, 2 for a latch bolt monitor, maybe 2 for a key monitor. I mean, so 8's quite a lot. You got a lot of options there. I think the electronic power transfers go up to 12 maybe. Like you have 12 different wires. That's a whole lot of stuff going on, right? But anyway, this is the basic way an access control system works. I think access just has 1 C in it. That's what I learned today. I hope you learned something. Maybe it's just all real basic to you. But I'll tell you what, having a good understanding of this helped me out a lot. Now, this was basic. So even just if we just focus on this electrified hardware side right here, it still gets really, there's a lot more to it. You have fail safe, fail secure. A lot of times people are using electrified strikes maybe to make it a little bit easier. But if they're doing that and it's a fire rated door, there's a lot of other things that have to happen too, because that electrified strike can't still operate during a fire alarm. So how are we tying in the electrified strike to the fire alarm? A mag hold, if you're using the mag hold, there's so much, yikes, a lot of potential issues with that. So you have to have a way to physically break the power to that if there's an emergency to get out. So there's a lot to it, but I appreciate you so much hanging out and watching the video. If you like the video or you think someone might enjoy it or benefit from it, please share it, and that helps me a lot to grow the channel and for more people to get to see some of the stuff I made. So I appreciate it so much. Please share it, like it, and thank you so much for your time. So until next time, happy hardwaring.